I should say we're not actually live. This is just recording in studio. Once we're done the recording, stick around and then it'll actually locally record on your computer as well. So you could have a free copy of all the content.
Okay, great. Thanks.
If you're looking to grow your audience, you are definitely in the right place. Kim Walsh Phillips, my guest on the Prime People podcast, is one of the top social media marketers on the entire planet. She got me on stage with Kevin O'Leary. I've spoken at her events and I've implemented tactics she has shared with me to grow our audiences across platforms. More than that, she really shows you how to materialize that into tangible sales and has pushed me out of my comfort zone into creating a bigger structure than I ever thought possible for our real estate business and for our media company. If it's your first time to this podcast, my name is Justin Konikow, owner of the Prime Real Estate Brokerage and Prime Media Productions. And on this podcast, I connect you with incredible people like Kim, so you can learn all her secrets and you can connect with her directly. I don't ask for anything on the podcast. All I ask is that you share it with somebody you think would appreciate it, and you go and follow my guests and connect with them. I'm giving you access to them directly, but I don't want to waste any more time. This is going to be action-packed. Kim, welcome to the Prime People podcast.
It is such an honor to be here. So much fun.
You're a very special person. I know you very, very well. I do consider you family, but for those of you who don't know who you are, can you reintroduce yourself, like 30,000 foot view? Who is Kim Walsh Phillips today?
I empower entrepreneurs and small business owners to take control of their business growth, stop waiting for the next referral to come in, and start leveraging the tools that are available to them right now that they can use to reach the people waiting to work with them. So that's what we do. We have a company called Powerful Professionals. It's one of the fastest growing companies in the United States of America. And I do all that while still being able to be present for my kiddos and DJ all of their softball games.
Yeah. And what I really want to highlight, who are some of the people that you've worked with in your past, just to give people context?
I've worked with some powerhouses like Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, who you mentioned, Dan Kennedy, one is the godfather of direct response marketing, Bravo Television. We're featured on an upcoming episode of Bravo. We've gotten to work with some really big names, and I take the things that work for them and break it down to how everybody on the planet can use them too.
Yeah, you do have a very good way of explaining simple implementation of very complex ideas. I think when people hear the words social media, marketing, growth, there's a lot of noise in that industry, right? There's a lot of people that pretend to know the things and sell courses on the things, but don't actually help people get it where they want to go, and they get frustrated. And can we demystify some of the major misconceptions about social media today? Like, well, what do you think are maybe like one of the top one or two myths when it comes to your world?
It's never too late to get started. So if you're thinking, well, I'm behind, I should have, I could have, it doesn't matter. Right now is the best time possible to get started with leveraging the platform. And more people use social media than watch linear television. So if the Today Show, Good Morning America, Fox News, every station in the world, the BBC all called you today and said, I want to feature you, of course you'd say yes. Well, you could reach more people than are on all of those networks right now in social media. But it does not start with a tactic. It starts with strategy first. So the first thing you always want to uncover is, who is your right fit audience and what do they want? Where are they hanging out? What will get them to pay attention? Those are the kinds of questions you answer first. And then the beautiful thing about it, it could be so easy. You could literally just create one piece of content per week, batch it, 10 pieces of content, go to answerthepublic.com, get questions your audience is already asking online, record those conversations, post them out once a week. And then there's beautiful resources with AI now that will take all that content for you and turn it into a ton of posts that you don't even have to think about how it works anymore. It will do it all for you, which is what I love.
I love that. And, you gave me clarity on, say, my right fit audience, because we run two platforms. We run Prime Real Estate Brokerage, the YouTube channel, which is for consumers, people that are looking to buy, sell, invest, find where they want to live. They can go there and all that content speaks to them. This podcast speaks primarily to entrepreneurs and people. A lot of them are in the real estate space because of my background, right? So you really did help me understand what type of content should I produce for them that would make them excited about watching the show and engaging and sharing it and subscribing and all the things. So what advice would you give? Let's talk specifically to, say, a real estate agent. What do you think they could do in today's digital landscape to figure out who their audience is? And then which platforms do you think they should focus on? Because there's so many and they just get overwhelmed.
Yeah. So an overwhelm is a thought, right? So why do we feel overwhelmed? Because we're thinking we don't have control over something. And so the first thing I'll say is whenever you're feeling that way, think what is making me feel that way and what could I do to make myself think differently about it. The way I like to approach marketing, business, and life is how can I make this easy on myself? So
Mhm.
that's a number one question we should ask. Doesn't have to be hard. I used to be so proud of saying I can do hard things. It was like one of my greatest calling points. And I thought one day it just hit me like, does it have to be hard? What if I could actually think I can make everything easy? That's a much more empowering. And so when it comes to social media, when you're a realtor, think about how could this be easy? Well, easiest would be if people came to me because they saw me as the expert. Easiest would be if I was flooded with my right fit clients that I wanted to work with in my zone of genius. So the first thing I'd love for you to do is to decide, what do I want to be known as? Do I want to be known as the go-to specialist for putting your house on the market? Do I want to be known as the one that can find you an investment property? Do I want to be known as the one that helps you downsize? What is it that I want to be known well in? Choose. Now, when we do that, we think, oh my gosh, but what if I'm letting go of opportunity that exists when I narrow in? But I like for you to think of a visual. If we're trying to capture water, we're so thirsty, and all of a sudden we come upon this beautiful, beautiful fountain of water. We don't have a cup, so we use our hands. And we want to catch a lot of water. We put our hands, if we spread our fingers all apart, it will all fall through. We would actually capture that water and be able to drink if we clasp our hands together and create a smaller cup in which to hold it. That is what great marketing is. When we can narrow in our focus on what our specialty is, put all of our content around that one space, we then become the expert, the influencer, and the authority so that people come to us ready to work with us in our absolute zone of genius. So while that's a hard thing to decide on, I get it. It's so hard sometimes to narrow your focus in. You're going to be so much more successful, go so much farther, so much faster, and build a reputation around that exact thing you want to work on.
I love that. And it actually brought me back to a conversation that I had with an agent once and was really encouraging her to say, like, what do you do and where do you do it? And she really wanted
Yeah,
to be known for selling luxury homes. But she's
right.
like, but I also don't want to disregard people that, want to buy $150,000 homes because, I want to sell it to everybody. And I was like, I understand that because I do that as well too. But when it comes to marketing, if
Right.
you just speak to everybody, you're speaking to nobody because you're not giving them a reason to connect with you, to the point where I'm like, I like fly fishing and I actually want clients that like fly fishing too, so that we can go fly fishing together. And then when they buy stuff, we can talk about it on the river. So we're not just in an office. And like, I have people that I work with that I'm going fly fishing with twice next month. And we're probably going to talk about random real estate stuff, but we're going to have fun doing it. And it's interesting because like they know other people that like fly fishing that will have to buy real estate, and it just will compound. And there's only one Justin, so you don't have to do what I need to do. You can be
Yeah. But
yourself, is what you're saying,
exactly.
right?
But even that, I'd be like, okay, well, how can I tap that into me being the expert in real estate? Could I talk about what investment properties are around places to go fly fishing, or what would give you nearby access to it? Or if you are a fly fisherman, you'd want a garage to be able to hold your equipment. Like you
Yeah.
could create all sorts of real estate content around attracting that right fit person. And for that luxury home example, you want to become the go-to specialist for finding people the right luxury home product. You should start featuring luxury homes on your account. And what I would do is I would take other people's listings of those luxury homes. I would start breaking them down. When they say this, this is what this means. When they
Mhm.
point this is what it means. This picture, notice that this is missing. This is a question I would ask when I go to the property. When you start to become different than just walking through, I mean, we love walking through a house, great, but everybody does that. If you start giving them more information, they feel like through you, they're getting in that inside track, then they're going to think, oh, I've got to go to this person because they know things that I'm not going to get from anybody else.
Yeah, and actually, again, another thought that you bring out when you speak is I always tell my team, whenever you're on a call with somebody, that's an opportunity to show them what it's like to work with you, show them your
Yeah.
market intelligence, and exactly what you're saying. If I sat down and I took one of Sirhan's videos, $1 Million Tours, and I started giving it my perspective, I could explain to them how I look at a property, how I analyze comparables, what that house speaks to, like dequalify the wrong people, find the right fit person for that house. I love that anybody can do this. Now, speaking to like more general entrepreneurs, right? So I own a coffee shop and I have the best quality coffee, the best customer service. Nobody knows I exist. What are some of the mistakes you think entrepreneurs are making when it comes to social media and trying to get that voice out there?
I relate it back to my single days living in Palm Beach, Florida. And I often went out with a really, really pretty guy, but a beautiful car who spent all night talking about himself. And the only time he'd ask me a question was when he would say, "Why did you go out with me?" Or I'd go out with the mama's pressuring him to get married and he's asking me if I want to have kids on the first date. Or I'd have the guy who is like super attractive. We have a great connection, but he never makes a move. And that's what most businesses are in social media. We're either making it all about ourselves, we are trying to get way too serious way too soon, or we never have a call to action to actually bring in the next step. And when it comes to marketing, I want you to think about you are trying to attract, just like dating, trying to attract your right fit client. How would you do that? You're going to offer something of value first. You're going to give them a reason to opt in, and then you're going to make the sale. I call that model the mom model because mom, this one right here, knows best. And magnet, attract them in. O for opt-in, give them a reason to give you their contact information. And then the final M is then monetize and make the sale. But always start with the strategy first. Why would they care? So coffee shop, do they really care about your store or just your team? Maybe, but really that's more for people who already know, like you, and trust you. What if you started to feature, if you love cinnamon, this is cinnamon week. These are different ways to have cinnamon in your coffee. Or you're looking for, you like your coffee super hot, here's how I would order it. You could start to give them cool strategies of things that would actually make their life better and would attract them into your shop because you just made it easier. A lot of people are very intimidated to order things that might be creative or fun on the coffee menu. Why not make that easy for them? And you could become the place that does that. Find a way to create a unique message that actually serves your market.
Well, and we're in a world where people love being in niches, right? Like whether you're a fly fisherman, whether you're somebody that likes music, coffee, the second you tap into that audience, they're hyper connected with each other. And all it takes is a simple DM in a group chat on Facebook for them to say, "Hey, you got to go check out Asmara Coffee." Asmara is one of our clients in London, like one of the best coffee shops I've ever been to. That's why I'm saying it. And then all of a sudden, all the coffee connoisseurs go there. The product matches the brand, and then they just grow, right? Like you have advocates for you out there that are waving your flag. Now let's talk about the scale piece. Like once you have that identity of who you are, what you're passionate about, what you love, and you start attracting the right fit clients, you're a scale person. Like explain that to me. Like I've got my little platforms and I do what I do, but like you're like, no, Justin, a million people on the planet should know who you are. Like explain that next jump, because that seems like a gap
And
that
yes,
people can't cover.
a million people on the planet should know who you are. You have brilliance and it should be shared with the whole world. I could not agree with that more. And when we think about that, we need to think about what are the things I'm doing one-on-one right now that I could expand in a different way. So do I create a system that I could teach other people to do and that they are doing the Justin system? So they're getting my influence and brilliance, but it's not through me personally. Do I create something that allows me to serve a bunch of people at one time? So it is a group setting. Is there something I do along that? Is there a course I could create? Is there a intensive I could run so I can serve a lot of people at one time? Or do I simply take my one-on-one system and create a certification so other people can learn how to do it as well? There's a lot of different ways to do it, but what we can't do is continue to think working more hours is the way to do it. Because if we want to 100x our results, we can't 100x the hours we work. So we have to start looking at the how. How could I? I have yet to find someone who cannot multiply their impact, reach, and income by leveraging a resource other than their time. If we look at the wealthiest people in the world, they do not get paid by the hour. The wealthiest people in the world do not get compensated for the work they do one-on-one. They have leveraged wealth in multiple ways that lets their value exist other than their physical labor. And that's what our goal is to get people to look at wealth creation outside of the physical work that they do every single day.
I love the stream of consciousness when you speak too, because it makes me think and it makes me listen. I talk too much because I talk for a living, but I went through that phase with Prime where, now people are hiring Prime. Yes, they want Justin's ideas and branding and make sure that the execution happens. But like, I'm the least important part of that solution because the machine works without me.
Yeah.
I want to challenge you on something, and I want some audience input on this because I have said for years, I'm not for sale. I don't do courses. I don't coach. I don't do all of these things. But as you're speaking, I'm like, yeah, like, am I actually holding my audience back from access to information that maybe they want? Like, if you're listening to the podcast or you're on the live stream, jump in the comments and let me know, are you looking for more in terms of structured education? And how would you speak to somebody like myself?
Okay, wait. They're never going to say, yes, I want structured education. So by the way, that's the wrong question.
What's the right question?
Like, oh my God, you know what I want today? A really good
structured education.
And to learn more. I want structured education. So good. They won't say that. But since I first met you, the first time you said, I have nothing for sale, I'm like, shush your pie hole. Say yet. I have nothing for sale yet. Because you are preventing the world from finding out things they want to know. So narrow that in on what would that thing be that you would put out there. Let's focus that on the outcome. And then we ask the question. So even if you were to teach something like this, Justin, if it was something like how I scaled my business, or structure my time management system, would you like to find out how I am able to take this many hours off in a week and have a speed implementation system that you can put in place that can help you run your business quickly? That would even be a question to ask. I'd want to make it a little sexier, something like Goal Crusher Plan, how to get 8 more hours in your week by offloading a lot of your tasks without
YouTube title strategy, like make it emotional, engaging, right?
Yeah, make it something that's focused on what they want. I talk about it being the external noun. It's not internal. Most people are not thinking at an advanced life development place at this point. And so they're not thinking, how should I make myself better to achieve my success tomorrow? That's like a tiny little percentage of people that do that. Most people are thinking, you know what I really want is blank, right? Like that's what they're thinking. So what's the fill in the blank? What's the external noun that they really want? That's what our marketing message needs to focus on.
I appreciate that. And here's where it's coming from, right? So, if you're watching this or listening, what do you want to learn from me? Just put it in the comments. I want to know. In my brain, I'm like, I'll just do that on YouTube for free. So sub to the channel because I'll do it for free.
Well, what do they want to learn from you? What do they want that I have? If I could, this is the question. So I'm going to say, ready?
Yeah.
If Justin had a magic wand and he could change anything about your business, your life, your real estate, your career, what would that be? If you had a magic wand, what's one thing you would change about it? That's the question that we want to know.
So producer team, pin that comment on the YouTube channel. If you're listening, go to my YouTube channel and answer that question. I want to know. But here's where it's coming from, Kim. Like, one thing I didn't like about our industry, my industry specifically, real estate, is the celebritization of it over the last bull run of the market. It almost makes me want to vomit because I see people that I know for a fact are not doing the things that they're teaching people or showcasing online. And I don't want to be lumped in with another guy selling a course for $150 that I know that course doesn't have any weight, right?
Lumped in by who?
By the general public. Oh, like, people actually think I'm a coach, or they think that I recruit or I want to be a speaker per se. I just want to be the best real estate.
Why is that a problem?
Because I actually want to be known as the best real estate agent on the planet. That's my end game, right? I want people to call me for real estate and not think that I'm becoming a life coach and not focused on the real estate stuff anymore.
Okay. And so how could you have both celebrity? Because people do need that. So the best clients in the whole world want to hire the best consultants, leaders, and professionals in the world. And the way that you position yourself as the best is by creating some of that celebrity status. So how could you have that celebrity status and still have it fulfill your goal of being the go-to real estate professional in your industry?
It's tricky, right? Because I always walk that line of a through line in my content. So like I would say a lot of my clients hire me for the quote unquote celebrity because they know I have a tangible reach. I'll draw in clients
Yeah.
from the GTA and I have
Yeah.
scale when I launch something. But that's where I'm kind of stuck in this great therapy session. I feel like I'm kind of stuck in between making sure people know I know how to ride the horse. I don't just wear the cowboy hat and the belt buckle. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so that's it. So I mean, we won't go into deep darkness of where that comes from, but we will do that offline because I have an idea on that one and how I can
Sure.
switch that thought. But here's a quick tip, okay? What you're going to do is, because there are specific things you don't like about the industry, and this is a strategy that anybody listening can use.
Okay.
And when you guys get the book, that which we didn't talk about, but we will at the very last
Yeah.
minute, I break this down, but this is a quick tip. You're going to take 10 things. You're going to make a list of 10 things you don't like how things are done in your industry. Okay. Make a list of 10. That's column 1. Column 2 is a list of the ways that you do those things differently. Okay. That's the column 2. And in column 3, you're going to come up with a story for each one of those, an actual life application of when those things happened. Those become 10 pieces of signature authority content. So not only are you talking about what you don't like about the industry, you're showing why you are different. The people you attract to you see you as the expert in that space. That becomes 10 pieces of content that you can elevate. Because you have your column 1 and column 2 on, column 3 becomes 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to keep adding stories in on those different layers. So you're always showing up in the marketplace, showing how you were different. It's going to require you to narrow your content in to that, but I think you should. Because if you really want to, this is about creating the future that you want versus people just liking you, which is what some of that other content does. Love you like a brother. Some of that other content is just people liking it. That would allow you to focus on where you actually want all this to go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I was paying attention. I just opened Asana and I wrote it down as a task for me to tackle. And I'm going through Simon Sinek's Find My Why course right now too. And just looking at those through lines of stories of your past. Let's go back to the audience and the people watching, right? Stories in their past. How can they look at those stories for a through line of who their best self is so that they can find their why? How would you guide people through that journey?
Oh man, that's a very big conversation. I've been going through it like deep, and it's funny because with the shift, I've been shifting, and it almost makes you look at, why do I decide the ways that I decide, and you look at everything differently. But just start from a place of not where have I been, but where do I want to go? And you have an opportunity now to create your own story of whatever you want it to be. So if you're like, I always was in a place of scarcity, but I want to be in a place of abundance. Well, what would an abundant life look like? Make a really clear picture of that and then work towards that. The past is not anything other than what happened in the past. It's not a predictor of your future. You get to decide what you want that future to look like, map that out, and then say, okay, if I was going to be known as this future self, how would my marketing reflect that?
I love that. Very, very tangible advice. And again, I want to get into 2 more things. I want to be respectful of your time. I know I'm going to be speaking at a live stream you have coming up soon. So why don't we break that down? Explain the book launch. I'm excited for you about that. And then what the live stream is going to be.
This is my baby, The Shift, and it's called The Shift. Scale your business and multiply your wealth without sacrificing you. It comes from this concept of we don't have to choose between an empire business that has massive wealth and impact and a lifestyle business, one that allows us to have a life. We get to have both. And I show you how you can create a multi-million-dollar business and still get to be present for family, fitness, fun, and faith, and how important all of those elements are and how you get those pieces into place. And to kick off the entire event experience, we have a fabulous live cast of amazing speakers. Each of them is going to share a strategy they use to shift into their best self and best business life. And Justin's going to be one of our speakers. So I can't wait for you to join us for that. The live cast, if you want to join us on the live cast, it is the shiftfastlivecast.com, shiftfastlivecast.com. And when you register for the live cast, you'll also get all information about the book, and the event is completely free.
Amazing. I'll drop everything in my newsletter so everybody can access it. I'll mail it out. I'll drop it in the comments as well too. I can tell you every time I pop into one of your stages, I sit there in the live stream and I'm looking at the people that pop up, American Idol stars and like just names that I'm like, I've been looking to hear from for a long time. Somehow Kim has this way of bringing these superheroes together. So I definitely encourage you to go follow Kim, send her a DM and a message thanking her. This is your opportunity to connect with Kim and her team directly. Kim, where's the best place for people to reach you?
Yeah, our really, if you go to the book website and it's the shiftbookbonus.com, you'll find all of my contact information as well as our upcoming book launch. That's the best place to reach me.
Yeah, your team is top flight as well too. You're the second repeat guest I've had on recently, and I hold that in high esteem. I don't invite people on more than once typically, but you will be back on for future episodes. If you enjoyed the Prime People podcast, share this out with somebody that you love and appreciate and think would enjoy this content. Make sure you connect with Kim and then give us a review. It means the absolute world to us. All this content is free. The only thing we ask for is that you share it and review it on Apple or whatever podcasting platform you are listening to. But we will catch you on the next episode of the Prime People podcast. And thanks again, Kim, for making the time.
Thanks for having me. So much fun.
All right. Take care.